Good evening. My name is Jeff Bryant, and I am the director of Gaylor University. And I want to welcome you to our second Living Healthy at Gaylor session. I want to thank you for joining. Tonight, our focus will be on the power of positivity. As always, we have our cornerstones on the screen. You will see our reliable resources, our reliable outcomes, and reliable insights. I think for tonight, the cornerstone that we are focusing on is the genuine care for people. At the end of the day, this fuels everything we do. It separates us from our competitors, and it makes us different, not just as employees for Gaylor, but out in our communities. We are joined tonight by Jared Ralph, who is our risk manager. He is going to answer some questions for us that he has been asked over the last couple of weeks. We are also joined by our benefits administrator, Tanya Strauss, and Derek Linus is representing the relationship dynamics team. He will also be here for the question and answer session. Later on tonight, we'll be joined by Michael Fort, our chief values officer, to also share a message with us. We're going to get started with some frequently asked questions that have been asked to us over the last couple weeks between now and the first session we have of Living Healthy at Gaylor Electric. So I now am going to introduce Tanya Strauss. And Tanya, it's really three questions. First, what is Teledoc? Who can use Teledoc? And what can I be treated for through Teledoc?
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. What is Teledoc? Teledoc is a virtual doctor visit that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you access Teledoc through their website, their app, or by simply calling them. And their information is on the screen here if you want to jot that down. Second, who can use Teledoc? Any employee and their covered family members that are enrolled in one of Gaylor's medical plans can access Teledoc. There is a $45 copay for general medicine visits and a $75 copay for dermatology visits. What can I be treated for through Teledoc? Most common illnesses, such as cold and flu symptoms, allergies, bronchitis, respiratory infections, things that you typically go to the doctor for when you're just not feeling well, you can be seen. And then there's some skin conditions that you can see a dermatologist for. And then also, if the Teledoc doctor feels that you need to have a prescription, they can call that prescription in to one of your local pharmacies for you to pick that up. And same thing, if they feel that you need to have tests done, they can send you to a test to a local provider that would be able to test you. Jeff?
Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that information. If you're watching on your phone tonight, you might want to take a screenshot of this page. If you're on your computer or iPad, I guess iPad, you can take a screenshot too. You might want to take a picture of this page. It does have the phone number and the website on there if you forget. You are also more than welcome, of course, to reach out to Tanya at any time. The next two questions that we have tonight is for our risk manager, Jared Ralph. The first question I think is very timely with what we are currently hearing across the country from our many governors. What is Gaylor's strategy as states begin to reopen? Jared?
Thanks, Jeff. I think the answer to that is that, first of all, we're going to remain vigilant. And by that, I mean, I'll tell you, I've been so pleased with all of you and our everyone here at Gaylor, how we have just figured out how to get things done, figured out how to get our projects done while abiding by these restrictions that we're all used to now, the social distancing and those kind of things. And so I know that so many of you have had to be creative and just figure out how to do your work while maintaining these restrictions. And so I would say, we're going to remain vigilant in maintaining these CDC guidelines, the social distancing particularly. I think this is also, an opportunity for the folks here at Gaylor to, lead our communities by example. We have, most of us have continued to go to work every day. And so there's getting ready to be a lot of folks that are kind of coming out of their houses that haven't been out and about as much as we are, and could maybe use a little leadership insofar as being shown that, they can be out in their communities, but they can do it in a safe way. And so, we're going to see some different approaches to the reopening of the economy, depending on where we're at in the country. I think I read earlier today that around 31 states would begin some form of reopening this week. And so we will have some different restrictions depending on where we're at, where our offices or our projects are located. But we've been managing this so far, and we're going to continue to do so, and we're going to continue to maintain these guidelines because it's important that we not let our guard down, and that we see this thing through. I think we're on the downside of this, but we've got to keep using these best practices to get this thing behind us.
Thanks, Jared. I appreciate that. I do think as a construction company that has been essential during this whole pandemic, we do have the opportunity to live our cornerstone of genuine care of people and really lead by example. So I appreciated that part of your statement especially. We do have another question for you, Jared. So if you would stay on here with us for just a second.
Sure.
Question number 3 is, I have heard the National Safety Council has postponed Safety and Construction Week. Has it been rescheduled?
So the short answer to that is that it has not been rescheduled. So this is typically the first week in May. This was supposed to have been observed next week. And of course, we always are big on celebrating Safety Week with our partners in the industry. The group that sponsors that, I would say, unfortunately, decided to continue that. So many of you have just had to figure out how to get your work done under these restrictions. And I can tell you that my department's committed to continuing to raise safety awareness under these restrictions. So even though the official Safety Week won't be recognized until late summer or early fall, we're going to be doing some contests next week with some giveaways. So pay attention to your emails and your text. We'll have a toolbox talk going out. We want everyone to stay focused on doing things the safe way. And I know that sometimes it's easy to get distracted with all of the COVID restrictions, but we have to abide by all of our other safety regulations at the same time as well. So we'll be sending out some communications, again, doing some of the contests and prizes that we do every year. And of course, we'll celebrate Safety Week with the rest of the industry later in the year, but we'll have Gaylor Safety Week next week. And we'll figure out how to get it done, just like all of you figured out how to get your jobs done.
I appreciate that, Jared. If that is the only 2 questions I had for you, but if you would stay on, if we have some questions, sure. And if we have time later, I may come back to you, but if not, sure. I will forward you any questions that you can answer later. Okay?
Yeah, I'll be on.
The next question we have is for Derek Linus. Derek is joining us now. Derek, I probably appreciate this kind of question the most. I know this is a question that I'm having quite a bit in my family. As we move toward reopening, families are having conversations about what this looks like for them and their activities. As a father and active community member, what conversations have you been having with your family, Derek?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. These conversations have been ongoing around our house with our kids. They seem to push every button at times, but even when the stay at home is lifted, we are just reminding our kids to use common sense and, think about others first. We talk about hangout time with friends is probably going to look a little bit different for a while. The wrestling around and the piling on top of each other is probably not the best idea at the time. And then for all of us, we are going to encounter people in our communities who choose to and or need to, deal with this virus in different ways. Some will have masks on, some won't. Some friends might invite you over for some social distancing fun on the back deck, and some won't due to their concerns. And I think it's important to not take that personally. I believe our job is to just be understanding and empathetic and ultimately just respectful with people and how they choose to respond to the situation.
I appreciate that, Derek. We talked about this 2 weeks ago in our Living Healthy, and Chuck also shared this in one of his early company letters. But I think one of the things that we can do the most is just understand, again, that everyone is kind of going through this differently. Everyone has different views. It doesn't mean their views are dead right or dead wrong. It doesn't mean ours are right or wrong either. but we have to respect each other. And if we do that, things will be all right. So I definitely appreciate that part of your message, Derek. Thanks a lot. I'll come back to you here in just a little bit, Derek, okay?
Thank you.
I did want to share with you guys a little item that we have in Bridge. We have been adding courses in Bridge, our new learning management system. And I know many of you have been in Bridge. I know that some of you haven't. We are going to continue to roll that out and get the highest participation as possible. This is just a reminder that when you log into Bridge, it is your 5-digit employee ID is your username. If you did forget your password, you can click that button there, but your password is unique to you and you chose that. When you get into Bridge, at the very first page, it'll look like this at the top. If you click on Learning, it will take you to another screen, and in the middle of the screen, you will see Learning Library. If you click on Learning Library after searching the keyword health, it will bring you to a few online courses that we have added. These are very simple courses. You'll see some of them are 12 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I actually sat down with my children a couple days ago and we watched the proper hand washing procedures. It lasted 2 minutes. I think they thought that I thought they were foolish, but I wanted to make sure they knew how to properly wash their hands. I kind of think back to when I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure no one actually taught me that. The value of that and staying clean is not just important for you, but it's important for the people around you. It's important for the people that you may touch. I also enjoyed this OSHA cold flu class. It is not about COVID-19 particularly. It's just about any season and things that you can do to help avoid sickness, but then also help the people around you. So these courses are in Bridge. We welcome for you to get on. Like I said, many of them are very short. You can take them and be done relatively quickly. What I like about these is that they get to the point. They don't drag it on for a long period of time. So over the last 7-8 weeks, every time you turn on the TV, you see every doctor that you can imagine on TV speaking. Some of these are doctors who work for the federal government, the state government. Every TV station has a doctor speaking on their newscast. But tonight, I wanted to take you back to the very first doctor that many of us ever knew, and that is the Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss. When something bad happens, you have three choices. You can either let it define you, let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you. Again, you have three choices. You can either let it define you, let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you. The thing that I would like to comment on this, I think oftentimes when something happens to us, we kind of go through stages. Sometimes we do pout a little bit. It does anger us a little bit, but ultimately we have to make the decision that we're going to choose number three, and it's going to strengthen us. I believe as individuals, we have the power to do that. And I think as a company in this pandemic, we definitely have the power to come out of this stronger than ever. I was an English teacher before I joined the construction industry, and I was an administrator in the school corporation, and I still read quite a bit. One of the books I read about 10 years ago is called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. If you're on Twitter, he's a great follow. He sends out a lot of positive tweets, but he has a formula that is E plus P equals O. You may have also seen it in other places as E plus R equals O. But it's very simple. Many times we can't control the events in our life. For example, none of the people on this call tonight could control the pandemic that we're currently in, but you do have the power to control the P, which is your perception, or the R, which is your reaction. And when you do that, you have the power to control the outcome. You can't control the event, but you do have the power to control the perception, control your reaction, and when you add those two together, and if you have the correct reaction, you're going to come out with a positive outcome. This quote was in the Energy Bus. I have actually had this marked for years and years from the time that I first read this book. I wanted to share it with you tonight. Positive energy and positive people create positive results. There is certainly a lot of negativity in the world, and choosing positive energy helps us deal with the negative people and negative situations that can knock us off our course. John Gordon has written several books. This was one of his first ones, but again, the theme in almost all of them is to lead positively and use the positive energy in your daily life. And it's contagious. When you act that way, the people in your house, the people that you might be riding in a car with, the people in your office, the people on the work site, the people in your church, the people that you spend time with, when you are a positive person, it is fun to look around and watch how contagious it is. One of the things that I've been doing during this time, and I'm somewhat embarrassed to say that it's something I probably should have been spending time to do a long time ago, but I didn't. You know, life is pretty busy at times, and you know, we all can be flying around, and there's times that my wife and I are passing in the driveway and she's taking one kid to something and I'm taking another kid to something else. But since these events have been canceled, one of the things I really look forward to in the evenings, and you know, spring has come around and the weather's warmed up, are these walks with my wife. And it's something that I'm going to choose not to give up. So when our lives get busy again, I'm going to make sure that this becomes and stays a part of our life. In his book, The Energy Bus, John Gordon talks about these thank you walks. He says they're an opportunity to reboost your energy. Literally, you can take a walk, but if you can't, just pause and reflect. It can also be the drive home from work. It helps to say out loud the things in your life for which you are thankful for. My wife and I have held each other accountable, and we make sure on our walk that that's what we do. The other day, we took our middle son with us, our 12-year-old, and we made him do the same. And I'm gonna be honest with you, he wasn't all in it at first, but he choked it up and he got a good answer out. And you know, I think that's important. And what I know, if our children see us do these sorts of things, they appreciate them, even if they don't show us at the beginning. And you know, maybe if he's laying in bed one night and none of us are around, maybe he'll do that on his own, and that's okay. Focus your mind and your words on things going well in your life. Again, E plus P equals O. And then the question that I want to ask you is, where will you spend your energy to control your outcome? We can't control the events, but we can control our perception of those events or our reaction to those events. And if we do it with positive energy, then we come out with the outcome that we look for and that we desire, both as people and as a company. Derek, I'm going to bring you back in if you have a minute to pop in here. Derek Linus has been working on a project with his team, and I want him to introduce our next thing. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, thanks, Jeff, and thanks for sharing about the walk. Some of my best thinking time is when I'm moving or walking somewhere, for sure. Hey, I wanted to share something with you real quick. I read something yesterday entitled, "It's Not Always Going to Be This Way." And at first, that's a good thing, right? And it is. I think we all want to get past this virus and this time and get back to the things and the people we care about. But this phrase hit me a little differently because there are some great things that have come about in our family due to this quarantine time we've had together. You know, I've sat down at the dinner table every night or took part in some creative family project, like a painting project you see on the screen. Took place the other night in our garage. We had a great time painting and listening to music and laughing, and had the door open. It was just a great night. See if you can guess which one's mine. We'll talk about that later. You know, I've had the opportunity to look around the dinner table and see the faces of every one of our kids and my wife, and realize that I need to make the most of these opportunities because it's not always going to be this way. And my goal is to make sure we keep having these moments way beyond this crisis. Hey, tonight we have another short video to share with you that addresses a couple of questions we asked some of our Gaylor Electric employees. I want to thank our Relationship Dynamics ambassadors, Richard Brown and Ryan Labb, and also our marketing coordinator, Rafael Capozzi, for working hard to get these captured. And also want to thank Christy Steffen for putting them all together. And of course, our amazing employees who have helped make this possible. Hope you enjoy the video.
Hello, my name is Richard Brown, Relationship Dynamics Ambassador for the Midwest region. We're very excited to serve each of you in the days ahead. Right now, we're going to hear from some of our employees from the Midwest on things they discovered they could live without during this COVID crisis. Take a look.
We've been ordering our groceries online from Meijer. This has allowed us to not have to go to the grocery store.
My family and I, we just stopped going out to eat. We've been saving money.
Drinking a lot more tea and a little bit less Starbucks.
One of the things we kind of stopped doing, we can't really do, is just going to the store and just looking. Because when you go to the store and look around, sometimes you buy stuff you just really don't need.
Stop getting a haircut. Figure I don't need it no more.
I stopped watching the news about the coronavirus.
Yo, de hecho, me gustaba mucho salir de compras. Y pues a veces no era porque necesitaba algo, simplemente era por hábito. Ahora pues ya no lo he podido hacer. Y de hecho esto me ha ayudado a ya no gastar dinero.
I stopped going to play poker with Jeff, so now I don't take his money anymore.
I used to shop a lot, and I stopped doing that. You know, spending a lot of money on clothes and stuff like that, and movies, and I stopped going out, you know.
During this crisis, my family has made an effort to eat out less. While we still support small businesses with curbside pickup, we will definitely curtail the amount of eating out we have done once this crisis is over.
Hi, I'm Ryan Lapp, Relationship Dynamics Ambassador for the Southeast region. We're very excited to serve each of you in the days ahead. Right now, we're going to hear from some of our employees from the Southeast on things they've discovered they could live without due to this COVID crisis.
One thing I've found that I can live without, definitely, is a haircut.
We've been cooking more at home and realized how creative and healthy that can be. We've tried fun new recipes and decided that we'll definitely be packing our lunches and be cooking more at home after all this is behind us.
Me llamo Sergio Finol, trabajo para Gaylor Electric y una de las cosas que mi familia y yo pensamos que no es tan importante, que dejamos de hacer, que no es tan importante, bueno, mi hijo cumplía 5 años de edad y nos tocó celebrar su cumpleaños en íntimo y nos pareció que fue la mejor manera, ya que disfrutamos como familia y valoramos más ese momento.
We certainly like to eat out a lot, and we will probably do less of that coming out of the crisis. It's probably something that we haven't missed as much as we thought we would.
Debido a esta crisis, mi familia y yo hemos dejado de visitar restaurantes y nos hemos dedicado más a cocinar en nuestro hogar, obteniendo el beneficio de cambiar nuestro hábito alimenticio. Desde que toda esta crisis comenzó, nos hemos dedicado a crear itinerarios diarios juntos en familia, creando por ejemplo juegos deportivos didácticos, razonables, conversaciones religiosas, educativas, caminar juntos en familia. Y es algo que no vamos a cambiar y que de ahora en adelante lo seguiremos haciendo en familia, incluso hasta cuando todo esto haya terminado.
Because of this crisis, my wife and I have stopped going out to dinner and a movie on a weekly basis.
We're doing, since the coronavirus came out, is not going to the gym and doing more walks around the yard and around the neighborhood together.
Right now we are about to hear from our employees here in the Midwest on what they are planning to continue on doing after COVID-19 is over and gone. So take a listen.
We have been playing Jackbox TV online with my millennial children. This has been a lot of fun.
I'm taking more walks.
And my wife and I have just been communicating a lot better with getting things done and with getting things in place in order for us to kind of go day to day.
Doing a whole lot more board games at the house with the kids, you know, trying to keep them busy out there, electronics. And it's been getting us a little closer together. And
I start walking in the national park, so I visit now every day one different park around my area. With my wife, we just go and exercise, maybe bike, maybe walking.
FaceTime with the grandkids down in Nashville. That's probably the biggest takeaway from the coronavirus, is we'll probably do some more of that using technology to contact friends and relatives because of distance.
My wife and I have started doing FaceTime with our children and grandchildren 2 or 3 nights a week to make sure we get to still spend and see time with them.
And we started having Mario Kart tournaments. So both my daughters, my wife and I all play against each other, and this has created a lot of family bonding time.
Now we're going to hear from some of our employees from the Southeast on things they'll continue to do long after this is all over.
Enjoying just some time to unwind and disconnect from technology and a lot of the on-the-go constantly, and just sit back and smell the roses.
That's something that's really helped is meditation. We've been doing a lot of that during this time.
One thing that I love to do is hike up in those mountains and watch a sunset.
Have coffee on a weekly basis with our family with video chats.
We've really spent a lot more time as a family outside, out doing outdoor activities, taking walks, riding bikes, so it's been great.
We've started doing bi-weekly Zoom meetings to get caught up with the entire family since we're all over the United States. And it's something that I think that has brought the family closer together, and certainly a habit that we will take with us out of the COVID-19 crisis. Hope everyone stays well and we get through this together.
Derek, I would like to thank your team and all the employees who put that video together. I really enjoy, this is probably my favorite part of these, to be honest, is listening to our colleagues from across the country and kind of hearing from them a little bit. Before we get to Michael Ford, I'd like to thank Derek and Jared and Tanya for coming out tonight and sharing your thoughts. It's much appreciated. I would like to thank those of you that are attending tonight. And now we're going to have our Chief Values Officer, Michael Fort, end this with a closing message. Thanks, Michael.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks again for being with us on Living Healthy as Gaylor Electric. I enjoyed every different presentation this evening, from the questions to the introduction to the instructions on bridge. And I really did enjoy that video. As you can see, no one has been unaffected by this virus, whether personally or someone that they know. And it also means that we each are dealing with it in individual ways. But one similarity that we all share is that we all need to manage our thoughts and our emotions during this time. I want to bring up a concept to you that I call power of your determination. We utilize this as an organization when we were designated as a essential business. We had to determine how we were going to approach that. We either could choose it is what it is, which you hear people say all the time, or it is what I make it, which is a more proactive approach. And one of the things that we certainly are as an organization is a proactive organization. In hindsight, setting up our cornerstone of reliable resources, reliable outcomes, reliable insights, fueled by our genuine care for people, has provided for us that solid foundation and that solid basis from which we are able to really make a difference and make it what we want it to be. I'm reminded of an article I read in Time magazine. It's from a few years ago, but in this article, they came to the conclusion, and when I say they, it was written by a group of scientists, that the human brain was naturally hardwired to be optimistic. And I think it's important for me to describe or define what optimistic means. Optimistic doesn't mean that you are just positive for the sake of being positive. Optimism is the ability to see through the problem that's before you and realize there is an ending to it, that there is a solution, and that it doesn't have to last forever. And because we have this naturally hardwired mind to be optimistic, we have that ability to choose the thoughts that we allow to remain in our mind and what we choose to politely refuse to allow to stay, or impolitely. I don't know about you, but I have on my front door at my home one of those little peepholes. And if somebody comes and knocks on my door, before I just fling it open, I always peek out that little peek hole. And if I don't want that individual that's on the other side to come in or know that I'm there, I just remain silent. I refuse to let them in. But if I want to welcome them, I open the door and have them come in. We can do that with our thoughts, and this will have a huge impact on our emotions. When we selectively choose the thoughts that we want to remain, it will have a big impact on the value of our day. As we continue, I want to encourage everyone to look for the positives in situations. And the best way to see positives is to be positive and stick to what we've been strongly recommended to do. Those great hygiene practices are something that we all will want to make sure we incorporate and keep in our lifestyle as we continue to move forward. And in closing, just remember, we are closer today than we have ever been to the conclusion of this virus, and that we are closer to than we have been in weeks to getting our lives back to the way that we choose to live them. But we can also be so extremely thankful, which is also part of being optimistic, for the opportunity that we have to be at our jobs on a daily basis, to make sure that we are able to keep our minds and our bodies active, to be able to do things that are productive, things that are positively impacting on our communities. And I do encourage everyone who has learned something new during this time that has increased their quality of life to continue maintaining those. And we keep in our hearts and our minds our fellow workers, our families, and our communities, that the best can happen for them. And let's each be the example that we would want to see others on how we live. Once again, thanks for being here. Have a great night and a continued great week.